Hello, everyone. This is Backyard Musings. Thank you for joining us. Broadcasting live from Apple Valley. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott.
Thank you for joining us again. We appreciate it. If you like it, subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your enemies. Okay, so today we're going to revisit Biden's foreign affairs. We're going to look at that in a little bit more detail. Do you remember when we had that show last time we talked about Obama forming a coalition of his acolytes to tout Biden's foreign affairs?
Right.
Remember that? Yeah, we did that last month. Was it in March, early March?
Yeah, probably.
Do you also remember that reality show called, TV show called Naked and Afraid?
I do not.
Yeah.
But
they're naked and they're afraid. We're going to sum up Biden's foreign policy as a dumpster fire, which being interpreted is feckless and afraid. That's how we're going to sum it up. So, Blinken and Biden, or rather Jill Biden, are going to mansplain to the world how Israel should conduct its war with Iran's proxies, Hamas and Yallah Hezbollah. Do you remember August 2021? Pulling out of Afghanistan?
yeah, that was an ugly deal.
7 months into Biden's term, right? This genius pulled him out of Kabul airport instead of Bagram.
Yep, and they blame that timeline all on
Trump.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, they do.
You know, why?
Well, Trump was going to pull out like March of, figuring he'd get reelected. He was going to pull out like March of 2021, and Biden pushed it back to August, which was smart.
Yeah, but something tells me he would have done it a little bit different.
Yeah, I would have been done very differently. So I'm finding it hard to find the words to describe this. So deadly, chaotic, seat of the pants, certainly tactically indefensible, right? Because of that explosion at the Abbey Gate.
Playground sandbox tactics. You know, you're building something in the sandbox when you're a little kid, and somebody gets teed off, and they get up and they take their shovel and they take their bucket and they go home.
And kick your
Yeah, kick your castle down. Yep. Yeah, that's kind of that.
And I wonder how, I'm just wondering how the senior brass, you know, like that, the 82nd commander, how he, like, why are we doing this? But I've got my mission, I've got to do it.
With his track record as far as military tactics and getting us involved in stuff, would you take his advice as a foreign leader? Would you take his advice on anything?
No.
No way.
No.
And that's kind of what he's doing right now to Israel, right? We talked a little bit about that.
Mansplaining.
You know? Yeah, it
You
kind
need
of
to
threatening.
get a ceasefire.
You know? Yeah, you need to do this, or we're gonna with us. It's almost like another quid pro quo. You do this, or we're gonna if you don't do this, we're gonna withdraw some funds.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
I don't want to put a caveat to what I said the other day. I said, I had this bright idea that, hey, take Gaza and go straight down to Aqaba. It kind of looks like a wedge, and move the West Bank into there. I looked at it last night, and that wedge is only like 200 square miles. West Bank is 2,300 square miles. There's no way. It's much more complicated.
It's
much more. It's
give
going
and
to
take.
take
Yeah, it's not
bilateral
a give and take.
negotiations, high level with other Arab nations and Palestinian Authority.
We're just a couple of guys in the backyard. Okay,
Yeah.
we're just talking.
I took a look at it, and my idea was throw it out. Yeah. All right, so that was my caveat. So, and then the worst of all, Biden left Americans behind, right? He didn't get all the Americans out. 13 of our national treasure, our U.S. service members, were killed, and 18 were wounded. Nobody talks about the wounded.
Right.
The kids that, and I call them kids because I'm 56, that lost limbs, a leg or an arm, or blinded.
Well, how often do you really hear anything more about the 13 that were lost either?
Only the parents and
exactly,
stuff,
and it comes up every once in a while during a political event.
Yeah.
State of the Union or whatever. Just
and
it's sad.
And the 173 Afghan innocents that were killed, 173 of them. Not sure on the number of wounded of Afghans. They airlifted 90% of Americans who wanted to leave. Remember, we called normally you call that an A.
Yep, if you're a teacher. Yep, I hear that all the time. If you're a teacher, that'd be an A. Well, what about the 10%? Obviously, that's not an A to them.
That's an F, man. That's a fail. And then Kirby.
And who knows if that 90% is actually accurate?
Oh yeah.
That couldn't. It might not even be accurate.
Might be a spun number from the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, exactly.
According to Kirby, it was the most successful airlift in U.S. history. How you like that spin? Tell that to the 10% left behind. You know what I'm saying? Tell that to the families of the Afghans that fell off the airplane to plunge to their death. How much equipment did we leave behind?
Billions.
Billions. Like 85 billions. Helicopters, drones, armored vehicles, Humvees, weapon systems. And those drones were reverse engineered by China.
Yeah, and
that was spread around.
And I'm sure all that equipment is just sitting there on the military base, just doing nothing, right? Just collecting dust, right?
I'll bet you, no, the Taliban.
I'll bet not. Exactly.
The
they
Taliban
grabbed
took it.
everything they could.
They're using it, yeah.
Yeah, it just.
The weapons, the Humvees, everything. I saw like some dude flying a helicopter. I saw it on the news. He's flying a helicopter around I think it was Kandahar, just around circle. Yep, that's our helicopter.
Let's have a military garage sale and it's all free.
These clowns are going to advise Bibi how to defend and counterattack against Hamas and Hezbollah? No.
Right.
No.
Like I said earlier, I would not be listening to them about any kind of military tactic or any threats.
You know what really upsets me is when, during the debates in 2020, Biden called Trump a clown. This one really upsets me. When these guys are clownish. Oh, the adults are back. No, it's the children who rant and rave about politically correct and woke. Really upsets me.
Yeah, well, and it's a scary thing because we're not talking about, again, playground sandbox tactics here. We're talking about the real world.
Real world consequences.
Yeah, exactly.
Affect
our
a lot.
military gets involved in
South
this stuff.
China Sea is heating up. Russia, Ukraine's heating up. Ukraine's just beating the heck out of Russia as they throw more forces in. They just sunk another vessel, another Russian vessel. Just sunk another one. Crazy. So the Afghanistan debacle gave the green light to Putin to invade Ukraine. There's no doubt about that. Because they invaded Crimea under Obama, invaded Ukraine under Biden, not under Trump. So the debacle and our reaction to Putin gave the green light for Hamas to attack Israel. That was a green light. America's not going to do anything.
Do you see a pattern here? None of this kind of stuff happened under Donald Trump, but yet it happened under President Obama. It's happening now under President Biden. Do you see a pattern? Who's in
next?
bed? Who's in bed with who?
Yeah, and who's taking money? Yeah.
Right.
Who's next? Kim invades South Korea? One of our best friend's son is serving a mission in Seoul, South Korea. You know, It's scary and it's serious.
Yep.
Seoul is right near the border. China and Taiwan. China against everyone piled into the South China Sea. I think there were five nations. And you remember the earthquake in Taiwan? China offered to help, but Taiwan refused. They didn't want China's help. Our enemies see that Biden is infirm, forgetful, and not even worth prosecuting for a crime of keeping classified documents.
Yeah, we've heard that from our
forgetful. Yeah,
it's a sad.
Well, let's take the flip side of the coin. If Trump had won in 2020, would Putin have invaded?
Again,
I don't think
pattern.
so.
The pattern shows not.
Because we had energy, we weren't buying Russian oil, right? It's the Russian oil that helped fund Ukraine, the war in Ukraine. We had our own energy. He was tough on Putin, and the Democrats love to lie and say he's in Putin's their best friends in their back pocket.
Yeah.
Well, you keep your enemies closer to you than your friends.
Yep,
you know what I'm
how
saying?
it goes. That's how it goes, right? Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
No, I get that. Yeah, and that's kind of, again, Trump's strong point is that he's a negotiator. He's a deal maker, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, you don't do this, and I won't do that. And that's, I get that. You don't go in there and mess with our stuff. We're not going to drop a bomb on your head.
He showed that he could do it because he put sanctions on Iran and crippled them because they were fat and happy under Obama, and then he crippled them. Crippled Russia with the sanctions on Russia. He slapped the tariff on China. China didn't like that. He played for keeps.
Played hardball, yeah. And against these guys right now that are just rolling over are Jill Biden's husband.
Yeah. That's a good one. Mrs. Jill Biden. Mr. Jill Biden.
Yeah.
Would we have lost 13 service members in Afghanistan? No.
Well, I don't think we would have abandoned that air base, right?
Well, we would have exited out of that airport.
We would have taken whatever we needed to out of
Yeah,
it, which is
because
everything.
it was secure. There's landmines around it. That
We would have
they've
used
been clearing
that
for years.
base for
Withdrawal.
the exit, right? And so, yeah, no, I don't see this happening. And if they had killed 13 service members, then they would have been held to pay.
Yeah, we wouldn't have targeted civilians and blown up their car. We would have targeted the Taliban.
Yeah,
You know,
and I think
none
they
of this
would
over the
have
horizon.
known that, right?
Yeah.
Because he did tell them that. I mean, that before.
Let me ask you
Millions
this:
of
how would Mike Pompeo? Remember, he was the Secretary of State. How would Mike Pompeo have handled the evacuation of the embassy in Kabul? Mike Pompeo is a West Point graduate. I mean, organized, smart. He would have
Military,
listened to the
CIA,
generals.
right?
Been coordinating the whole time. If Austin wasn't the Secretary of Defense, what if I don't know who was Mike Esper?
Yeah.
How would he have handled it? I think a little bit different than Lloyd Austin. We wouldn't have woke in the military.
Well, and I think if it had gone down this way, I think he would have been unemployed.
Yeah,
You know,
I've been
'cause that's
an
another
awful lot
thing.
of Dems.
That's another thing that Trump, deals with. When things don't go the way they should, he makes changes.
he makes changes.
What
yeah.
changes have been made in the Biden administration?
Nothing. Nobody's held accountable.
Like at the
Promote
border,
it.
like at the border right now. And they're trying to blame it on Mayorkas, which I get that, but it's all Biden. It's all his guys. It's all his people that are controlling the strings.
They're not going to get the votes in the Senate.
They're not going to. Well, they're going to stall. Yeah, they just won't.
They're
It
not
just
going
won't
to get the
happen.
votes. You need 2/3. They're not going to get it.
Yep. Get them out of there.
Speaking of embassies, we've lost 3 other embassies. Would that have happened under Mike Pompeo and President Trump? Did any embassies close under them? If you can put in our comments, if you know of embassies that closed during Trump's time, I just don't have those facts. We'd appreciate it. Would Bill Barr have turned soccer moms into domestic terrorists? Or prosecuted people praying at Planned Parenthood centers? Praying. Would he have raided those families with full geared up guns and everything from the FBI? No.
I think not.
So how is Ketanji Jackson Brown working out? How's she working out? She doesn't know what a woman is. She needs to be in context to tell you, right?
Yeah. Do we need more of her on the Supreme Court?
It seems-
Absolutely not.
It seems like the First Amendment is hamstringing the government. Duh! That's what the First Amendment's supposed to
That
do.
was what it's set up for, right?
Oh my gosh, I'm getting heated. Would Trump
Calm down.
have filled that vacancy with a conservative? Yes. He put all of his nominees and laid it out there so all of us could see. All of us, and do research on them. Elections have consequences.
Absolutely.
We're witness to that every single day. Gasoline is so high. The war on energy, taking away our menthol cigarettes and our vapes and our whatever.
This is
Government overreach. Can this mess ever be reversed?
Well, I think it can be if we get the right people in. But and I'm not saying that that's all Republican people either. By the way, some of them need to go too. The term "rhino" comes up. We need to get rid of some of the.
Drain the swamp, right?
Yep, get rid of some of the rhinos, the old guard, get them out, and get some fresh blood in there. So
it's really hard to believe that some people fervently want another 4 years of Slow-Mo Joe. They do. I mean, yeah, Biden's done great, but they can't tell you what he's done. Tomorrow, we're going to have a segment on his accomplishments, and you're not going to want to miss that.
yeah,
Vote them out.
and we'll figure out a way to make it at least 10 or 12 minutes, even though it could be very, very short for his accomplishments. So.
Yeah, we're going to try. Maybe we'll talk slow.
Vote him out.
Vote them out.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care. Have a good day.